Welcome back to the Reading Corner here on Dreamers Defy. We are currently in the middle of reading Peaceful Warrior, the Canaan Bower Story. We're up to Chapter 8 today. If this is your first time with us, please go back to Chapter 1, which is the introduction and Chapter 1 video, and catch up to us. What we do is we read through a book, chapter by chapter, audiobook style, and today we're on Chapter 8 of Canaan Bower. Now, before I get into the book, I do have to remind you, we are giving away this lovely Draco handmade plush and his Storytime Adventure book. How do you win that, you ask? It's very simple. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel and you will be entered into the drawing. Pretty simple. When we get to 500 subscribers, we will randomly draw one and they will win Draco and his book. When we get to 1,000, we'll do it again and give away another handmade plush Draco and his book. But today, here on the Reading Corner, we're reading Peaceful Warrior, the Canaan Bower Story, about an incredible young man from Las Cruces, New Mexico. And we are up to Chapter 8 today. It is by Mary Haarmeyer and Craig Beeman. And let's get right into it, shall we? All right, here we go. Chapter 8 of Peaceful Warrior, the Canaan Bower Story. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly above as Canaan made its way through the crowded school hallway, his broad frame towering effortlessly like an unmovable pillar amid a sea of students. Suddenly, like a whirlwind of her own, Sonia launched herself onto his back with a squeal that cut through the ambient noise. "Canaan!" she cried, her voice bright and melodic, the kind of sound that could bring a smile even to the fiercest of wrestlers. "Whoa!" Canaan staggering forward slightly from the surprise, but quickly found his balance. He made a dramatic spin, and the two of them laughing as carefree as children in a playground. Sonia, petite and wiry, clung on for dear life, her mismatched sneakers dangling midair. Her clothes hung loose and faded, clearly having seen better days, but her face glowed with an uncontainable mischief. Canaan tipped his head to glance back at her, grinning. "Do you greet all your friends like this, or am I just lucky?" Before she could respond, a voice sliced sharply through their laughter like a whip crack. "Canaan! Sonia!" Mrs. Allen stood nearby, her arms sternly folded, glasses perched low on her nose as she fixed her hawk-like stare on the duo. "What are you two doing?" Sonia froze, her joy vanishing in an instant. She dropped from Canaan's back, landing lightly and straightening up, like a guilty child caught raiding the cookie jar. "Sorry, Mrs. Allen," Sonia blurted, her voice suddenly small. "It was my fault." "No, it was my fault, ma'am," Canaan said immediately, his deep voice calm yet earnest. Despite his intimidating size, there was a softness about him, an almost protective humility that seemed permanently etched into his personality. Mrs. Allen narrowed her eyes, her usual no-nonsense demeanor as rigid as iron. "This isn't the first time I've said something to you two, but it will be the last," she said, punctuating each word with the weight of finality. Canaan shared a look with Sonia, whose wide eyes mirrored his own. "Yes, ma'am," he said quickly. Last time, Miss Allen," Sonia echoed, her face serious despite the faint twitch of a smile threatening at the corners of her lips. Mrs. Allen shook her head with exasperation. She turned and began to walk down the hall, but not before throwing one last glance over her shoulder. The two stayed frozen until she disappeared, then burst into quiet laughter, leaning into each other like conspirators. "I'm so sorry," Sonia said, giggling softly. "You always get me in trouble," Canaan whispered back, his deep voice tinged with mock disapproval. They began to walk side by side, easier now, their rhythm as natural and unforced as companionship they'd fallen into. "How you doing, little nugget?" he asked, his tone light but his eyes searching. "Pretty good, large fry," she replied, though a quick flash of guilt crossed her face. After a moment of hesitation, she added, "Did you end up sleeping much after we chatted last night?" Canaan shook his head with a faint smile. "Not really. You?" "Not really," she admitted, her hands fidgeting as they walked. "Well, that's what English class is for," Canaan quipped with a grin. She laughed, but her voice softened as she said, "But seriously, thank you." He glanced down at her, his pace steady and protective. Of course. I told you any time. Ahead of them, a group of taller, mean-eyed kids loitered near the lockers, their murmured laughter carrying a cruel edge. It was quiet, too quiet, but Canaan felt their attention latch onto him and Sonia like vultures eyeing a defenseless meal. You had any issues with these guys from the other day? He asked, his voice dropping low, carrying a dangerous steadiness she had learned to trust. She squared her shoulders, smiling confidently, and said, No issues. I have big, strong Canaan Bower bodyguard. He chuckled, his laugh easing the tension she hadn't realized she was holding. That's right. You're not alone. You've got me, and you'll tell me if they bother you. I'm not alone. I've got you, she said. Canaan smirked. Can I be your bodyguard on the way to your class? Sonia adopted a fierce expression, flexing her arms dramatically. Of course, big, strong bodyguard. They both erupted into laughter again, her antics infectious. Canaan shifted slightly to place himself on the inside of their path, his broad frame an unspoken shield. He didn't even need to look at the group as they drew closer. His sheer presence was enough. The mean-eyed kids edged backward a step, trying to appear disinterested, but avoiding the towering wrestler with obvious apprehension. Sonia looked up at him, her eyes filled with gratitude, the kind of reverence reserved for someone she trusted completely. Together they walked down the hall, quiet now, but wrapped in an unspoken camaraderie that made every step lighter. For Sonia, Canaan wasn't just her bodyguard. He was her anchor in a chaotic, confusing world. And for Canaan, protecting her wasn't a chore. It was a reminder of the kind of person he wanted to be. And that ends Chapter 8 of Peaceful Warrior, the Canaan Bower Story. Again, tell me what you think in the comments down below, and make sure you drop a comment, #BeACanaan. It does a number of things. Number one, it really helps the channel out because the algorithm likes comments. Number two, it brings attention to Canaan's story, an incredible young man from Las Cruces, New Mexico. And he deserves all of that. Now, lastly, don't forget, if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. It'll register you to win a handmade plush Draco and his Storytime Adventure book. What could be better than a giveaway, right? Pretty simple. All you got to do is hit subscribe. Now, when you do it, I hear they say hit the thumbs up and the bell to be notified. That's probably a good thing, too. I'm not sure exactly what it does, but it'll help us out. In the meantime, we'll get to Chapter 9 here on the Reading Corner on Dreamers Defy.